Hello! Today this video is for you if you've ever thought, I want more, I can be more, but I feel really stuck. Or why do I keep going round in circles? Or even, what's wrong with me? Well, in many cases the thing that holds you back isn't laziness or a lack of discipline, it's an invisible barrier. And invisible barriers cannot be solved by trying harder. This is because they're internal and invisible, which means that they're hidden in plain sight. They're running the show, and yet you can't quite put your finger on it, which makes it really tricky. Now, in the first video, we talked about the threshold. So when your current orbit starts to feel too small. And today I want to name what keeps people stuck at that threshold, even when the desire to grow and expand is very real. So we're going to talk about desires, longings and yearnings. I call these invisible barriers matrices because they're an invisible energy field, and an energy field of rules that you didn't consciously choose, but you've been living inside them. And yet it gets really annoying when the thing that you can't see is the thing that's actually running the show. But we have, fortunately, ways of detecting them, of making them visible, so that they can release the hold on you, so you can move into that bigger orbit and release up your untapped potential so that you can be all that you are. Now, longings and yearnings turn out to be the rocket fuel that can propel you into that bigger orbit. And before you start to think that they have to be something big, noble and altruistic, like helping orphans in Africa or saving the rainforests, let me give you some other examples. These might start to help you put into words what you might already be feeling, but perhaps you keep dismissing it as it's not big enough. So things like fun and creativity. Perhaps you want to take up writing or drawing. Love, intimacy and relationships. Perhaps you're really longing for a deeper, meaningful relationship in your life, a partner, or just improving the relationships you've already got. Authentic confidence. Perhaps you've got a longing and a yearning for just being able to show up confidently as who you are, to know that what you do, you're doing it really well. Your genius. What is your genius? How would you like to discover that and share it with the world? And then a spiritual connection. Perhaps you've got a longing to be part of something that's bigger than yourself. Health and vitality. Perhaps your health isn't so great, or you really think, I need some more. I just need some more like juice and energy, and I really want to get out and get fit and lose weight, things like that. And if your health and vitality aren't up to par, it's very difficult to make other things work. So it's important, is this one. And then impact and influence. What's your legacy? What do you want to leave behind? How would you like to impact and influence people around you? And the last one, prosperity and livelihood. How can you make a good living doing what you love doing? Now, these longings and yearnings are also tangible in our energy fields. And since the invisible barriers are energy field matrices, I thought it'd be good to take a quick look with you at how all that fits together. So, here we go. So our energy field consists of what we call 4 dimensions of healing. So the first one is our core star. That's our spark of the divine, our soul that wants to come into physical form. Then that energy moves through what we call the hara, and that's where the soul or your divine spark gets its direction. And from there, we move on through to the aura field, our energy field. It looks like a big golden egg. There's 7 different layers in it, and this is where you find the chakras. And then there's the physical dimension. I didn't really have room on the slides to put that there, but that would be the lady in her bathing suit. And that's all the things that make up your physical body. So your organs, your arms, your legs, your skin, your eyes. And this energy from the core star, from your divine spark, is constantly going through these dimensions. So core star, hara, aura field, physical, and then back again. It's like a big breath in and out that's constantly breathing. And energetically, when our energy from the divine spark, from our core star, comes in through the hara, this is what we call the dimension of intention. So through the hara, you're bringing all the intentions that you've got for this life. So all your talents, but also your challenges, what you're wanting to find out, what you're wanting to experience. And along the hara line, we've got the soul seat, so that's that blue area that you're seeing, and that's to do with your longings. And then you've got the tanchen, and that's what that sort of little yellow sun is, just under your navel, and that's where the passions, the motor, the sort of driving force for your longings sits. And if you've got people that have got like lots and lots of longings in their soul seeds, so lots of ideas or yearnings and really want to do things, but that the tanchen is not so strong or developed, then they've got lots of yearnings but really don't know what to do with them. And the converse is also true. If people have got lots of passion and lots of dynamism, the tanchen is really active, but they've no idea what they want to do with it, then it's like, something just turning around in circles. So when we start to work and connect with your longings and your yearnings, then your invisible barriers start to become visible. I'll show you in a few moments how that works energetically. And you start to see them playing out in your life. And you're going to start getting frustrated with those barriers because the longings and the yearnings start to provide the rocket fuel that trigger those barriers, but also motivate you to break through them. Hooray, yippee! So what happens is that when you start focusing on longings and yearnings, so the haric dimension of why you're here, what you come here to do, what you really want to experience, that draws in much more of your soul essence. And that then starts to fill up your auric field. Now in the aura field, there's all our emotions, all our feelings, lots of different layers there. But as you start to focus on the longings and the yearnings, then you get that old operating system, so the invisible matrices start to get triggered. And those in the end, because you start to push up against them, you're wanting to become more, those become much stronger. So you start to really notice them in your life. And it's literally the comfort zone that you're in. Until you start to get out of the comfort zone, you don't know you're in it. And you end up in this vicious circle because of you've started now to want more. So that's a bit like energetically what's going on. So let me give you some examples. I'm just going to give you 3 examples, even though there are more, of these invisible matrices to see if you can already spot them in your life. So the first one is I'm alone. Now in this one, you start to isolate and separate yourself from others. You think you have to do everything yourself, and you find it very difficult to ask for support. And if you do, it's in ways that tend to alienate others. So for example, you probably don't join any collectives or communities. You prefer to go it alone. If you're at a party, you'll probably end up in the kitchen. So even if you're physically with others, you tend to want to go off and be on your own. If somebody invites you, your first answer will probably be, oh no, I don't really want to tonight, or I'm busy. So you don't really start to look for the company of others. If people make requests, say, can I help you? Would you like some help? You say, no, I'm okay. So you tend to create this whole thing of being very self-sufficient. And the antidote to breaking this pattern, once you realise that it's operating in your life, is to start reaching out to others. And then your whole energy field starts to change and you get released into a new orbit. And that releases more of your core essence so that you can be more of who you can be. It's really cool, isn't it? But it just takes a little bit of work, good questions and the right pacing. Now, another one is I'm invisible. So in this one, you tend to assume it's the responsibility of other people to know exactly what you're thinking and feeling and what your qualities and talents are. Doesn't work like that, but you keep thinking it does. And you tend to ask for things in ways that are attacking. You assume that other people don't care about you. So everything you do tends to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. When you don't get your needs met, you tend to disappear. So instead of asking for, actually what you do need, you tend to think, I'm out of here. People don't care for me. You don't tend to represent yourself in ways that other people know who you are. And that's because you tend to always focus on the other people. So you ask them lots of questions, you focus on their needs, but you never really reveal yourself. And you can engage in selfless service to the point of exhaustion, to being completely and utterly knackered, because you don't presence what you need and what you desire. And the antidote to breaking this is to start voicing what you're feeling, start making yourself visible. And in this last example, I'm not enough, then you're chronically self-sacrificing to serve others. So, but the thing is, you don't really realise what the true needs of others are. So you don't know what you need to create value for the others. So you end up just overgiving and overgiving. And you're often self-depreciating and give self-diminishing comments about yourself. So if someone says, oh gosh, I like your hair, doesn't it look lovely? You'll say, gosh, no, it needs washing, it's really dirty. Or that's a nice jumper you've got on. And you'll say, oh no, it's something really old. So those sort of things. You also, if you're in the I'm not enough matrix, you tend to overcommit and you take on way more than you can actually do. And when you're doing that, you're validating again and again that you're just not up to it. You're just not enough. Or you tend to tell people that, that you can do more. So people expect that you do more. And then you have to let them down. Again, self-fulfilling prophecy. And you end up getting yourself obligated to people and situations that are just not satisfying you, but you can't say no. And you end up taking on jobs that are not really yours to do. So the antidote to breaking this pattern is to start to realise that you are enough, that there is enough, and that you have much uniqueness to contribute. Now, these matrices, these invisible barriers, aren't solved by more force. And that's because they're not logical problems, they're energetic patterns. And they start to shift and dissolve when you have the right questions, the right practices, and the right pacing, and a container that's going to hold you while you expand. And that's why the Summer of Soul is structured week by week, so that you don't have to figure this out alone. And in the next video, I'm going to show you the step-by-step Soul Summer Map, what we do each week and why it works. Not as a theory, but as a practical container that's going to help you ignite your longings, yearnings and vision, discover, uncover and name your inner barriers, break through them, step into a new orbit, and hooray, make it irreversible. So if that resonates, please hang in there. I'll be sharing the next video, the last video, very soon. And enrolment opens officially on Wednesday the 24th of June and closes on Sunday the 28th of June at 6 p.m. Dutch time, or sooner if we get full. And if you already know that you want to be part of this Summer of Soul, then please go for it. You'll find the link underneath this video and in the email. There'll be a maximum of 12 people, and I'm keeping it small on purpose because it's the first round of doing this online, and I want it to be intimate and personal so that you get plenty of attention. So, I'll send the next video out soon. Will you be there? I do hope so. Bye-bye for now.